So what's the best way to give guidance and expectations to subordinates or to new hires? In my experience, I worked for a number of years as an event manager, and part of my job was to recruit volunteers and staff members. And what I realized over time was that just giving them a basic overview of what the expectations were for them, or what specifically they had to do, was not enough. I had to get into very detailed discussion, a very detailed conversation with them, so that they could develop a better understanding of why they were doing certain things, and also address specific common challenges that often occurred on the job. So there's a great quote by Sun Tzu, who was the ancient Chinese author of The Art of War, and he said, and I quote, "If words of command are not clear and distinct, if orders are not thoroughly understood, then the general is to blame. But if orders are clear and the soldiers nevertheless disobey, then it is the fault of their officers." I think that's a really great quote, because it points out the importance of recognizing the responsibility that you have as a leader, as someone who is in charge of the subordinates, to explain to them specifically what they need to do. And if you don't explain it effectively, or if you don't communicate it effectively, then ultimately you can't blame them for messing it up or for making mistakes. I would say the best place to start when you're talking about a new hire or a new person who's joining your organization is to start with the history of your company. It doesn't have to be a long, extensive history, but just kind of helping them to understand where you have come from and where you're going. Also pointing out the mission and the purpose of the company or the organization at this moment. So where are you going now? What specifically are you guys trying to achieve? That's the framework and that's the context in which you have brought in this new person. After establishing that framework and that overall sense of where the company has been, where it's going, then you can identify the specific role that the new hire coming in is playing. So for example, right now we're aggressively expanding into the Spanish language market. So that's why we need someone who can communicate the value of our products and services in Spanish, in this other language. Right now, nobody on our team speaks Spanish. You speak Spanish, so that's the role that you're going to play. You're going to be able to communicate more effectively than we can right now currently. That helps them to understand, okay, there's a context, there's a framework for why I'm contributing to this organization. The next step is to identify the big tasks. Okay, so just give them a general overview of the big major tasks and the most important projects that they're going to be working on. So, for example, if you're bringing in someone to speak to the Spanish language market, maybe one of their most important jobs is going to be translating social media, website, and other written communication into Spanish. So that might be one of their big tasks. So you introduce that first. After you've introduced the 2 or 3 or 4 main key big jobs that they're going to be doing, then you can get into more specific, detailed, lower level tasks. So for example, if a random customer calls up and they only speak Spanish, then that person, the new hire who is the Spanish speaker, is going to be the one on point to handle the call and answer the questions and so on. And then that will get into another discussion maybe on understanding the common questions that people have about your product, about your service, and how to answer them, how to present the information in the most effective way possible. Lots of different angles that might relate to that, but you see, you start out with the big overall tasks and the big overall projects that they're going to be working on, and then you gradually get into more specific and more lower level tasks. And then finally wrap up your communication with common errors or common mistakes that you've seen other hires or other subordinates make. That helps them to understand what are the most common challenges that people tend to face in this position and how they can avoid them. And if you like the video, press like and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.